Hello there, friends. So today I'd like to talk about my process and the way that it goes from this to that. So when I'm starting out, there's a lot of times it depends. Like if I have one of the canvases that's like a regular canvas, not these like panel canvases, I might just come in here, throw it up here, and just play around with it. I shouldn't say play around with it because there's a chair here. You can see my chair. See my chair? Okay. So there's that chair, and in that chair, I will sit. And I listen to music a lot of times. Almost always, there's music involved. Sometimes I'm listening to like a podcast or like a political stream. That's where you'll see there's a lot of political, like somewhat names, like the UN Security Council, stuff like that. That's where it'll come from. Most of it's music. And so it's me just sitting there staring at this white canvas. Sometimes I don't like the white, so I will add the black gesso. Sometimes I will mix the black gesso with white gesso and like a gray color. Sometimes the gray color is fun. I like the black, and it kind of makes the colors pop, but sometimes I like the white because it just feels right. So that's kind of how I start. I take this, I tape it up here, and sometimes I'll tape it up there like the day before. Like not thinking about it. Just, I know that it's there and I will come in here once it's time. And part of that is that I am forcing myself. I shouldn't say forcing. Most of the time I'm more than happy to be in here. But sometimes I have to force myself to come in here because I need to be consistent and just keep doing it. But if I was to just paint like once a week, it might not feel right. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my life, in my head, in the day that I had. And it ends up somehow on the canvas, right? And it's just me putting color and playing around with it and kind of seeing what it works, what doesn't work. And at times I'm going to be here. See, I'm going to walk away from you for a moment. And I'm behind you now, and I'm staring at the canvas. Like, there's times where I'm like, I don't know if I like that. It doesn't feel right. Right? Because it's a feel. It doesn't feel right. Because I'm not really thinking about it. That's kind of part of the process as well, is I don't think about it. There are times that, I'm like thinking of, I want to do something a little more like a landscape. There's some landscapes. Let me see if I can find one while you're sitting there. This one right here, I kind of came in here and I was sitting in my chair and there's this painting over here and I could see that. It just made me think. I was like, I kind of like the way that mountain looks. It's like very abstract, and then this is a little less. And so I kind of we'll just start playing around. Sometimes it requires me to come over here to my palette, right? And like you can see, there's some color there now. A lot of times there isn't. If it's like Wednesday, since I've been painting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there likely is going to be color there. There's always white, there's always black. But the other colors, it kind of depends. Something I have learned is that, especially with abstract art, is you got to kind of sometimes pare it down. And so a lot of times I'm dealing with like a couple of colors. I'll have white and black. This one was white, black, yellow, red, green. And most of it was the yellow and the red. It was just, there was a little bit of green left over. It was kind of sat up here. So it's like, there'll be times I'll be sitting in that chair and I'm staring at that thing for an hour. Like, what color? What do I want? What am I feeling in the moment? Another big one is I'm sitting here and I'm listening to music and I'm like, that song, I got to find something else. So this one, for instance, I went through like 5 or 7 different songs or artists before I came to Lee Ronaldo. And what was interesting is I was looking at my record collection, and it made me see this record by Sonic Youth. And I was like, oh, I really like that sound that they have with a lot of those albums. If you listen to Sonic Youth, you know what I'm talking about. But it was like, I hadn't listened to the album out Amarillo Ramp probably like 6 or 7 years. And so I was like, I gotta find that. And I was listening to it. And like the first song is 30 minutes of this just wall of sound. Guitar, feedback, effects, doing all the stuff that, Lee Ronaldo is very well known for. And that's kind of where this ended up coming from, is that sound in my head. But then there was also a bunch of other stuff. Right? I've been working on reading The Myth of Sisyphus. And so that was kind of that's a fun one in itself. And then there was stuff related to work that was just kind of in the background, marinating. And so I'll come in here, I'll sit, think about what's going on. Sometimes it's a podcast. Most of the time it's music. But it's this thing that's in me that I'm like, kind of feel like I got to get it out. So there's a lot of times where the painting will paint itself. Not that I'm not doing anything. It's just that I'm not thinking about it. I'm just intuitively, oh, that looks, I like that. My good friend, Mr. Palette Knife, he spends a lot of time here. So it's like, oh, I could put some black. It's especially like if it's a black gesso. There's going to be some white, bright colors. When it's white, it's usually darker colors, and it just kind of is getting the ideas in my head, so to speak, the energy that's in my head, out of my head. And sometimes it's 5 minutes, and it just worked, and you're like, oh, I'm walking away. I don't need to do anymore. Sometimes it's 45 minutes, like this one. And it just, you're like kind of getting into the music, into the moment, and just painting. So for me, my process is really trying to capture the moment in time. I rarely go back. I won't go back to fix it. There will be times with some that I will go back and I'll paint over completely. But once I hit the stop button on the record, I'm done. And a lot of that's just because I don't want to think about it anymore. And the moment is now come and gone, and it's done. And I'm sure there's a whole lot of people that don't like my art, and that's fine. It's totally fine. I don't make it for you. I make it for me and the people that eventually will like it. And that's kind of the fun part to me, especially with the abstract part. And you will see it in the comments where someone's like, oh, it looks like this. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't think about it like that. Because I really enjoy hearing what you all have to say, because it's kind of like, oh, wow, that's what you saw. And that's the fun part to me. So go ahead. Oh, and, leave a comment. Tell me what you would like to see. Do you want me to talk more? YouTube wants me to talk more, so I need to talk more. There probably will eventually be more of me painting and talking to you. I just got to figure out a way to give myself music so that YouTube doesn't get mad at me and give me a copyright strike. So, how's that sound? What do you think? You want to see some more? You want to hear some more from me? Have a great day.